Hi, my name is Wasif, and welcome to the Pumpkin Patch, where we talk about adventures in parenting as well as health and wellness. It's presented by Eye Care Pharmacy, where I'm a pharmacist and an owner. So if you have any questions about the podcast or need help with a prescription, you can feel free to text me at 780-705-8871. We provide free delivery as well as expert advice all throughout Edmonton, Sherwood Park, St. Albert, Beaumont, as well as even Stony Plain. So if you do like the podcast, please give us a 5-star rating and hit subscribe. Thanks so much for dropping by, and I hope you enjoy our little conversation here. Thanks. Bye.
So when she was, that age where you start taking, your kids to play parks and typical things, moms groups and just stuff like that, when you're finally getting some rest and you want to leave the house, right? Your hair's
Yeah.
not in the mom bun. Well, no, my hair is still always in the mom bun, but
Yeah.
yeah. Then when I started taking her to places, I was like, wait a minute, she can't really functionally play or use any of the equipment here, or even the change tables were for babies, and
Yeah.
she's 2 or 3. I'm not going to put her on that. She's over the weight limit, and she's only getting bigger, and just everything was not accessible, and like the only thing
And
that was
yeah.
accessible was the door that you press and then it opens. That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, and like you're saying, play is such an important part of like learning and therapy and those sort of things.
Exactly. Yeah. And she had really cool, like at the Glen Rose, we had the 1 2 3 Go program, and so there's different like therapy things, that there's areas where she could go play, but that was something that you made appointment for, and it was with a therapist. So it's not that peer connection. It's not that typical play environment, right, with other
Right.
kids. And so just, and I went to different ones thinking, okay, maybe this one will, and there was nowhere where I could take Clea to just play. And that was, somewhere where it was accessible. And I was like, this is not okay. Like,
Yeah.
this, it doesn't have to be like this, right? And then, so even talking to other parents, they're like, yeah, I know, it's like, there's nowhere to go, right? We can take our kids there, but it's really just to hold on to them or put them on the floor. Like there's nothing that
Yeah.
they can do.
So I read that when I was reading up, I read that you had taken some of the playthings that you had at home, and you yourself had made changes to it to make it more adaptive to her needs.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, what were some of those examples
yeah. Oh,
again? Hi, how's it going?
that's my guy.
Yeah, he's cute.
Yeah. So yeah, there was well, everything that I was Clay could use was adapted, right? So um the Jolly Jumper was one thing that I used, because she does have that motor issue. Like she can't stand on her own. I mean, could weight bear, but the balance was an issue. So so yeah, I'd have a Jolly Jumper and put it on, big crates, so it made it longer, added carabiners to it so it made it longer so she could have more headroom,
Yeah,
added fabric, so then the the Velcro piece that you put on her was bigger, and so it was like just basically a bigger Jolly Jumper, right? So then she could be standing, and to have the lights over here and like a little piano thing over here. So the sensory things were there that she could gravitate to and touch on her own, because it's different when she can do it independently, over you're holding her and presenting it to her and hand over hand. It's different because kids want to explore, right?
you're
So
right.
giving her that opportunity to be alone, not alone, but like in a space where I'm not holding her and she can do whatever she wants, because she's secure, really made a big difference, because it just then she touched something. Okay, if that knocked over, okay, now we'd figure out, well, what was that, and then she won't do that again, or she will, just to, right, cause and effect. She could she knew where this was because the blue light was over here, so she knew like directionally where she was. And yeah, so stuff like that. And also there's the Gorilla Gym, which is you put it on the door frame and you can use you can have a different attachment. So there's swings, there's a ladder, kind of just to have stuff in your home instead of outside. So I had that, and then put like a swing, a baby swing, but just made it so she could fit in that, and then put a iPad kind of attached to it with her lights over here so she can touch things and swing. And then if it, yeah, so just, yeah, just different things that supported her, but she could, but keep her safe, right?
Yeah, yeah. It seems like you were very creative in your solutions. So like you did a lot of, it sounds like a lot of trips to Home Depot and Michael's and that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And there are a lot of things that you can just, put this and this together and you can adapt it to make things work. And it doesn't have to cost, because anything special needs is, quadruple the price. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm glad I could think out of the box and allow that to help me.
yeah. And
Yeah,
then when I was reading up on I Can Play Too, I think like your mission statement was something like it was to the effect that you want a space where kids of all abilities can be able to play together.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think that's like for us, I think that's going to be really important for Atlas when he's a little bit older and he's at that play stage, is because like in regards to like my upbringing when I was younger and I came across someone with adaptive or special needs, and well, for me, it was a little bit more awkward. It was like, oh, I had to stare at them, right? Because I'm a kid. I don't know, right? So
exactly.
I'd stare at them, and then my parents would be like, "Don't stare.
Don't
That's
look.
rude." Totally, right? But it doesn't really teach you anything, right? It doesn't. It's not. It's not. My parents, they're immigrants and that sort of thing, so they don't really know, right? They just kind of do what they were taught, sort of thing, and they're just, they're trying to be nice about it and that sort of thing. But the better strategy is to just have an outlook of inclusion. And I would want Atlas to be in a situation where he can go and play with people with different abilities and kind of build that idea of inclusion and understanding that there are other ways to be.
One of the things
Absolutely.
that oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, one of the things I wanted to share is that we grew up like that, like, because at the early onset of elementary, I wasn't in Canada, right? Like, I was in Holland, and they have a much more advanced education system there, like, again, this was like 30 years ago. But I found that coming in Canada, everything is segregated, like, everything is separate, like, the kids who have disabilities, some of them, or adaptive needs, they go into a separate space, or, everyone's kind of in their own space, right? Or even ESL, right? So one of the things that there's a school that I was working out of, all the ESL kids are kind of on their own in a different classroom. And I was having this conversation with my colleague, and I'm like, wouldn't it be better if they were just in the classroom? They would pick up the language easier, they're exposed to it, and they have aids, right, with them, so they can actually speak. And that's how I think about when we have kids with adaptive needs, right? Just let them play together. They learn from each other and they grow up together. And that way they can help each other learn those skills, right? So
Exactly.
that's kind of how I think of it. But
And there are skills to be learned both ways,
yeah,
right?
it goes both ways, right? It's not like just the adaptive needs kids learning from, the kids, that can function in an environment that's set up for them.
Mm-hmm.
The kids who are able to function regularly or so can learn from the adaptive need kids as well. It goes both ways, because like you said earlier, right, our system is set up, designed for just able-bodied people. It's not set up for, well, to summarize what you were saying, it's not set up for people with needs that have more challenges and stuff like that. But I think that could change. I have seen a lot of schools that I work out of. I have seen some of them that have kids with needs, and then they just bring an aid with them. Couple of them actually, and then at lunchtime they go into a room, like, out of confidentiality, I'm not allowed to say which school, but a lot of them in the north side have a lot of those programs, I find. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, and so I mean, But for yourself, that was kind of, hopefully when COVID kind of eventually goes away and that sort of thing, that'd be, a great vision to see where
Yeah.
you can set something up where we have kids of different needs being able to interact and play together. I think that's very important in terms of
Yeah.
learning
Yeah,
and inclusion
exactly.
for everybody. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because I started the so I can play too. So the Children's Disability Support Network is the nonprofit organization, and then through that I can play too was the project that I was working on,
Oh,
to
I
have,
see.
yeah, so to build a facility that is completely accessible, that is adapted, that all children with all abilities can be able to play in no matter what. But everything would be taken into consideration, from lighting to, like the sensory things, the parking, the bathroom facilities. It would have specialized equipment with, extra harnesses, or anything that you'd need if they need that extra support, but also typical play equipment. So the kids can play together, whether they're siblings, friends, have birthday parties, just somewhere where they can go to actually, you know, participate.
Again, for listening to the Pumpkin Patch podcast. If you liked what you heard, please feel free to give us a 5-star rating and subscribe. And again, if you have any questions about the podcast or as well questions about your health or wellness, text me at 780-705-8871. And have a great day, and hopefully we'll chat soon. Thanks. Bye.